wins most of the time, but best of 7, man, the better player comes out on top like all the time in a best of 7.
Yeah, it's too many games back to back.
Yeah.
Map number 2 is going to be on Proxima Station. soO opening up with a rush in game number 1, but Stats' control was so good he only lost, I believe, 4 probes.
4 probes, yeah.
In that, which is pretty crazy. I mean, usually it gets a lot worse than that. And then coming back and actually killing 4 drones and eventually winning with a very nice Archon Immortal push. Guys, this is game number 2. soO versus Stats, a fight to become the king of the GSL Codes. Introducing our players in the upper right, in the red, in his 5th finals. And yet to win one of those finals. Tonight may be his night, or perhaps history will repeat itself.
Oh man, that would be the saddest thing for him indeed.
Truly devastating. In the bottom left, in the blue, our Protoss player. He is. Now let's see what the build is going to be here from soO. Stats has always been a fairly reactive player.
Yeah.
We've seen a lot of Protosses that try to really seize control of the game and do a lot of pretty wonky builds.
Yeah.
Stats is much more like Rain in that regard. Truly a reactive Protoss that just stays back, kind of evaluates what the Zerg is doing, and then alters the course of his build to counter that.
If there were a spiritual successor to Rain, it would be Stats. He is the greatest defensive Protoss right now in the world. There's no question about that. And kind of interesting on this map, Tasteless, he takes the front natural as his first base. A lot of times you see the Protoss take that back one, super easy to defend. You just can't really take damage early game. But taking this front one, I wonder what this means.
Well, there's some things we can already glean from this. This means that the third base for Protoss, assuming this game goes on and on, the third base for the Protoss is going to be easy to take and a little bit tougher for the Zerg to monitor when that's actually acquired.
Yeah, one thing I do want to point out is that double Overlord Ling drop is one of the most popular builds on this map.
That's
dropping
very
in the
true.
back natural and in the front. But here there's like 3 spots you can drop now, right? You could drop into the natural at the front, or you can drop into the back natural to run around. There's not really going to be anything there to watch, or in the main base. So that still might be a strategy, if soO had it planned, that he can still utilize here.
Yeah, let's see. If he is to do that, that would be the second game in a row where he's gone for some very aggressive builds here. Yep. And at least so far, we've seen that Stats can pretty much handle those builds, deflect everything, and then ride his way to victory.
Well, this game, we'll see if it's any different for him. He's making a Stargate right off the bat here, a Stalker as well after a Zealot. So this is going to help him to push out any Overlords and try to prevent Ling drops from really doing their damage to him. You can generally kill an Overlord off before it gets all its Lings out if you see it coming. So I think it's a good, strong opening here from Stats, build order-wise.
I agree. I agree. Now, the funny thing about soO is that even though he's probably, I think it's safe to say, considerably more aggressive than a lot of the other Zergs we see, his macro game is spot on.
Yes, it is.
He's not aggressive because he has to. He's just got the full range of Zerg playstyles.
Yeah, you don't make 5 GSL finals without being able to do absolutely everything.
So we have the Oracle on the way here. The Stalker's going to come in and try to drive this Overlord out. This is a spotter Overlord to try to identify when exactly Stats does take a third base. Is when you see that third base acquired, you really then understand the pacing of the rest of the game.
Looks like a Void Ray was the follow-up of choice.
Yeah.
And, of course, that's going to be able to take out a lot of Overlords. Sometimes you can use it for light harassment as well, especially on a map like this where you can poke in the side of the base. Oracle being turned away immediately, already losing its shields. No kills quite yet.
Yeah, so far so good. It's very important he does not lose that Oracle. Very good job actually diving that in and forcing a Spore. are spying to come down there just to buy a little bit of time while the Oracle then moves out. We do see the third base now being acquired, although the Overlord has not been moved into a position to check for that just yet. I'm wondering, I think this Void Ray is going to make a beeline to where that Overlord is. It's really important that soO actually checks that before this is killed off, or he's going to be in the dark on the pacing and the tempo coming from Stats this game.
That would be really painful, in fact, if he doesn't see how quick this third is. It's like kind of weird to see a third this quickly while going Glaives and Robo, but a very solid yet greedy build coming out of Stats, and with soO just teching up, he doesn't really have anything to punish with.
He got it. I think he actually denied the spotting there on the vision. This is really cute. You know, had he not moved those drones, that would have locked down a lot more
it's a lot
of those workers.
Time.
It's kind of an interesting technique that we don't normally see used here. If the Zerg is not completely on top of everything that's going on, he can end up losing the game. And now we see a big gateway explosion. Wow.
Tasteless, it's not just a big gateway explosion, but you know what he just did? He was making a Void Ray when a Zergling scouted his front and then canceled it as a Zergling left. So he's trying to fake, I don't know what, like some sort of more defensive, maybe even Sky Toss-esque play, but this is just a massive Adept all-in.
If you see in like positions like this on a map like this, if I saw a second Void Ray making, I would not think there's an attack inbound right away.
Certainly
but the fact that he cancels that's a really subtle, really smart fake there. Gonna lay another trap, but the drones are pulled. Looks like just in time, this time locking down 2 drones, but soon not losing that much more mining time. I mean, if any of these are incredibly successful, the push that's going to come here from Stats could be just too powerful.
Okay, the Hydra's actually pushing back this Void Ray. The Prism is flying around. It has a small amount of Adepts out here. There's no Baneling, so this is just Ling Hydra, both of which Adepts can chew through. Oh my
God, he let that finish. He's now warping in over here into the main base. These Adepts are going to be taken out, but can the rest of this army get up here in time? So much damage being dealt. The Adepts now shading over here into the third base, into the very, very back, where these drones are still quite vulnerable.
Okay, let's see how many he ends up getting. 7 drones already falling down, but the Hydras are making quick work of some of these Adepts. Another shade, another warp in as well. The Hydras and Queens coming up, trying to fight against this. He cannot lose too many drones here.
Stats is everywhere, hitting all these locations before the Hydras can come in here and try to help them stop. I thought it was going to be a full-on push, but instead, he's going for a tactical approach. 21 drones have already been killed, and these Adepts are still in here doing damage.
This is a massive amount of damage so far. Can he shut it down? He needs to get that Prism. He's trying to, but in fact stops targeting it after just a moment. More and more drones falling, as well as Hydras in the main.
I think when the dust settles, there aren't going to be very many workers left in this game, Artosis.
No.
Stats is just hitting too many key locations, and it does not appear that soO can keep up.
He has just not been able to take out this Warp Prism yet. Finally, a Spore walks over to try to push it away, but the damage has been done. 35 drones have fallen.
I can't believe how well this has been executed here by Stats. He just knows how to split those Adepts up. Even the Oracle coming in at the end, getting more kills, 5 kills there on that, and then avoiding the Hydras before they can actually take it out.
That's just crazy. He's matched this build brilliantly. He took that third base, it wasn't scouted. He faked a second Void Ray, that was scouted. And then suddenly, he hits with massive amounts of Adepts and does brutal damage.
Right now, when it's all said and done, there are 33 drones to 64 probes, and I think a follow-up could end up smashing soO in this game. That would give Stats a 2-0 lead.
That's a huge deficit to come back from, and Stats just hid the fact that he has this many sentries. The Overseer tried to see it, but he pulled him out of the way. Stats is on top of every piece of information. It's like he's combined his own style and image with the way that SOS plays. This has been masterful so far in game number 2.
Adepts are warping in. The Hydras did not end up targeting the Warp Prism, so another Adept warp in could be inevitable. Right now they are engaging the Hydras. Looks like he may go for, no, hold up, a push now over here towards the third, and there's nothing to defend. These drones have nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. Even with a force field there, they are going to be massacred.
Oh, he can easily take down this third base with this move. Plenty of force fields to go around. Even still harassing here in the back, Natural.
Even less workers this time around. It's now down to 28. The hatch is under fire. GG! Stats takes game number 2.
That was just amazing what we saw from Stats here. Getting outside of his normal comfort zone of strong defensive play And this was, like, he had 3 bases. He faked him out. He came in from nowhere, hid the sentries. Everything about this was so well